So no, typically I do not think it's a gender thing. I don't think women are just clamoring for somebody to die so that they can take their money. That's a character thing. And a lot of the times the people that I have seen, even though it's an anecdotal thing, what I've seen is the women being taken advantage of. I watched my best friend go through a divorce and she had to buy out a man, her husband, out of the home, and he didn't contribute most of the money to that household. She was the breadwinner in that situation. He cheated, and that's the reason why they ended up getting a divorce, and she had to buy him out the house. So I can name you example after example after example. And if you're going to say such an egregious thing about a whole sex, about a whole gender, please have data to support that.
So let me
Okay,
ask
let
you
me
this:
say.
the
Women
information.
Can,
initiate 80% of
What's the data
divorces,
can
on
I
bro.
say
the
But hold
something
on, hold
really
on, hold
quick?
on. Too
retirement?
many. One mic, one mic, one mic. Hold
Can
on.
I say something
I'm
really
gonna.
quick?
That's the data.
I'm gonna. All right. Got it. So DJ So Lovely. I'm not sure if you were able to hear like what was happening just now, but people. I know you mentioned that it was a people thing, but there's a few on the panel who believe it's more of a woman thing. What's your thoughts on that?
I'm gonna let them have that misogynistic point of view, but as it stands, me personally, I know in personal from personal experience, it's a character thing. But what I think is more important, the footnote I want to make is make sure you have a will, because the will is not just about assets and money. The will is also telling people who you want to make important decisions like medical decisions. Do we pull the plug? Do we put them on life support or no? You don't want somebody making those type of decisions when they're in it, that when your death is more profitable for them than your life. So just make sure that you include that in your will. It's just as important as your assets.
Hey DJ, does a character
Mhm.
thing mean negate that it's associated with one male or female? That's the fact or your opinion on it being solely a character thing. How does that negate that it's associated with a female having that type of character versus a man having that type of character the most?
I have not witnessed that being a characteristic that is attributed to a particular sex. It's a particular type of person.
So you don't buy
And
into it because you haven't witnessed it.
no, I don't buy into it because typically, if you even look at the earnings, let's all right, let's unpack it. If you look at the earnings right now of a man and a woman, women are making good money. And a lot of women are lined up. They have a good retirement plans, they have pensions, they have long standing careers, and they tend to outlive men. So women are usually prepared for their retirement, and they usually have family that cares for them and is willing and prepared to take care of them because they've invested and sown into those people throughout their lifetime. So no, typically I do not think it's a gender thing. I don't think women are just clamoring for somebody to die so that they can take their money. That's a character thing. And a lot of the times the people that I have seen, even though it's an anecdotal thing, what I've seen is the women being taken advantage of. I watched my best friend go through a divorce, and she had to buy out a man, her husband, out of the home, and he didn't contribute most of the money to that household. She was the breadwinner in that situation. He cheated, and that's the reason why they ended up getting a divorce, and she had to buy him out house. So I can name you example after example after example. And if you're going to say such an egregious thing about a whole sex, about a whole gender, please have data to support that.
So let me
Okay,
ask
let
you
me
this:
say.
the
Women
Can,
Hold on.
information.
initiate 80% of
What's the data
divorces,
can
on
I
bro.
the
say
Well,
something really
hold
quick?
on. Too
retirement?
many. One mic, one mic, one mic. Hold
Can
on.
I say something
I'm
really
gonna.
quick?
That's the data.
I'm gonna. All right, Di, you haven't gotten a chance to speak for a second, so yeah, I'll let you go ahead first, and then Darwin, we're gonna come to you, and then we'll go to Roof. I'll let everybody get their joint off, and then clap.
Yes. Yes, I do agree it's a character thing as well. But I do want to say that I feel like even Marcus was kind of like like bewildered by like, I want to meet this type of woman. You know what I'm saying? I want to see what type of woman this is and so forth. So I do want to say that I don't, when I say mostly women doing it, I'm not saying all women doing it. I'm not saying it's a lot of women doing it by saying mostly women typically do that thing. But I do feel like when it comes down to it, and when you see those situations, a lot of women they do that, but it's not so often that where you could just say it's just the all women thing. A lot of us was well, not a lot of us, but even Marcus was just like, who is she? And I was confused too because I feel like I hold women to higher standards. A lot of women that I know they hold themselves to higher standards, so I can definitely understand what DJ So Lovely is saying based on what her personal experience, not what society sometimes try to only show us in the media because they're purposely trying to cause conflict. But if I go, and that's why I had to, re-say what I said, because when I had to think about my personal experience and what I see, it is like it's not so often that I see it, but when I do hear it, it is coming from a woman. She just like, yeah, I got to make sure I got to get that insurance policy, and it's not. And 9 times out of 10, it's not my friend, but I'm in a vicinity where I'm hearing them talking about it. And when I'm in a vicinity of hearing people talking about it, it is mostly women. Like, I got to make sure I got to secure that bag, and it could stand for multiple reasons. But with us making as much money as we do today, I don't think we should be as entitled as we was back then, because back then we wasn't able to make money. So a lot of women, like he said, just feels completely entitled even after they've been divorced for like 30 years. It's almost like an ego thing for certain women, but like she said, it's a character thing as well, because those women also have a certain character about themselves that men also could have. And that's why other women have given examples like, yeah, I've seen men do this, especially within the family, like she said. But for from my experience, I do want to say I mostly hear women trying to secure that spot, but it's not often to where you can put this on a specific gender. It's a character thing.
That was a contradiction. You say you hear it most often women, but you can't put it
I
all
don't
on.
hear it often, but when I do hear it, it's coming from women. That's why I say it's not a most women thing, because I hear a lot of women. I hang around a lot of women. I'm working with Black women in solidarity, and that's just what I contribute my life to. So that's why I say I don't hear a lot of women talking about it, but when I do hear someone talking about it, it's women. So that's why I had to clear up my statement, because I didn't want to make it seem like, oh, it's just only women. No, that's not the case. I'm not saying it's just a characteristic for us.
So also all genders, human. This thing about is a human thing. Why do we have to take away that level of tier of gender to try to dodge the who's mostly doing it at like as if you can just state the word character as if it just negates the whole fact that there's genders involved or this one is more like highly likely to do it more than often. Like character is just powerful word that just takes away who we can point the finger out at.
I think
And
I said what you
I
just said,
understand it
though.
might be I
Yeah.
understand it might be a method of trying to remove the gender war out of the conversation. Some people may feel triggered because of that, but then you also kind of want to allow room to shame certain behavior. The only way you can do that is actually point the finger at who's causing the problem. And stating that is a character thing still doesn't take away the fact that we can point the finger at exactly who's most likely to cause this issue.
Right. I wanted to add also that I don't think I agree that it's a character thing, but I don't think it's fair to characterize pointing out what's happening as like misogynistic just because it may be skewing to one direction or the other. I mean, if we look at just the statistics on divorce and who's more likely to divorce or file for divorce, and then we look at the statistics of death, we understand that men are more likely to die before their spouse. So just based off of circumstances alone, it would be obvious to anybody looking at the data that women would be more likely to be seeking those type of advantages because they're more likely to even be in the position to get the advantages. So I just think that to ignore that and throw it under the title of misogyny, it's like, well, how, like Darwin said, how can we accurately assess the problem if it is a problem that's happening more from one gender? how can we accurately assess it if calling it out is always going to be combated with misogyny or some form of hatred or some type of bigotry? And it's like, well, the statistics are the statistics. You know, the numbers are the numbers. It's like if we were having this conversation about violent crime, for example, you know, it's obvious that men are more likely to commit violent crime than women, simply just off the fact that men are probably physically more capable of committing violent crime, right? But to point that out wouldn't be misandrist. That would just simply pointing out, you know, the facts. So I just think that it's great if we can like put our feelings of whatever gender we are aside to be able to talk about the conversation honestly and genuinely, rather than like trying to skew whatever details might make our particular gender look bad.